That is so spot on.
Whoa, which makes sense, and I'll tell you, it was a hard Saturn return.
Audrey is going to be reading my chart with me, and we are going to be analyzing everything as much as we can fit in a shorter time, because like we said in the interview, this can take upwards of 3 hours, so we're not going to do the whole thing, but I'm so lucky that you have taken the time to really dive in and tell me everything about me. And I'm scared, but I'm excited.
So what I usually do is, if something doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. We're going to drop it.
Okay.
If something hits too deep, you can say, okay.
Usually some people,
they'll be like, I can usually tell by the eye, so I'll just kind of change. But I kept it. So what I do is I prepared you the report, and it's your name with all of your birth information, and I write you a little thank you note to just tell you that no matter what, you are enough. And I think it's important for individuals to really understand that you are enough and you are perfectly perfect the way that you are.
Yeah.
So let's begin. I always try to, go with numerology as well as tarot, because numerology is big, tarot is big. There's two things that I love. I'm not an expert in numerology, but enough to understand.
Yeah.
So what I do is I take your birth date, and then I make it, unless it's a master number, like 11.
Then you take
20.
those two and put them together.
That's right. That's right. So you are a 5 life number path. So number 5. And what it is I really love this about you, because it shows that you are a creative but adventurous being. Like, sitting down and doing nothing for you is just going to be at your detriment, right?
Yeah.
You're very high in communication. You love to socialize. You are really at times unpredictable, because you love to roam free to really connect with the curiosity that you have. I'm pretty sure, like, hey, Selena, curiosity killed a cat. No, it's not going to kill the cat. It's just going to make you even more expandable and curious, because you're like, I want to know why this is happening, because I want to help somebody else. Because if I know and I can communicate it, I could help someone.
That is so spot on.
But it's in your own creative aspects of it, right?
Yeah.
So whatever endeavor you take, it's going to be okay, because it matches your life purpose, right? Of just transmuting all of that information. Yeah. One of your best attributes is your availability to also socialize, but also to be able to listen. And people appreciate that a lot about you, because your way of communicating with others is always uplifting and very positive. And you also bring a lot of light and joy into people's lives, especially the ones that quickly cross your path. So if you're always like, someone would say, oh, thank you, or you just have people that are looking at you or smiling at you, it's just because you have a very beautiful aura. So those are 5 life number paths.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'll notice, like, a lot of people in the store, and I hate to, like, talk about myself in a good way sometimes, but I'm like, I do notice it. I'm like, oh, kids are smiling at me, babies are waving at me, people are going hi as they walk by, and I'm like, hi. Yeah. In my head, I'm like, why do I get all the attention? Like, I don't get it.
But step into that, because that's your light, right? People want to. They want to know about you. They want to know what you need to bring, just like those funny, like, oh, fun fact. They'll listen,
Oh,
so
okay.
And then what I do is I take that, and then I go to the main arcana cards. So number 5 is the tarot, the Hierophant, right? So I don't know if they can see, but the Hierophant right here.
Okay.
So it's tarot card number 5, which is very funny. So the Hierophant is ruled by Venus, which is in the sign of Taurus, which is your sun sign.
Yeah.
And it has an earth element, right? So the Hierophant you see as the spiritual leader. And what it means is that the Hierophant is always in search of fulfilling their spiritual needs. They can attach to an idea, a spiritual path, a healing path, but they won't end it until they find their right path. And that could be throughout their whole life. So usually when you have the Hierophant, you will see someone who can be in a religion of faith like Christianity, but then all of a sudden they'll be in Wiccan, and then all of a sudden they'll be atheists, and then all of a sudden they'll go back to their Christianity. Who knows, right? It's just an evolution, and it's because they crave higher meaning in their life.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, death is not the end. There's something else, but how do I find that?
Yeah, and you just want to know the answer so bad.
Yeah, okay. So then you're going to pick, like, okay, well, maybe I'll find it in Hinduism. Oh, wait a second, maybe I'll find it in, there's nothing wrong. It's just that curious mind, right?
That explains a lot.
And he's also, the Hierophant has a structured ritual because it's ruled by Saturn. So it likes the foundational. So when we're talking about spirituality, you're not just going to jump into something. You're going to jump in when you're like, okay, I figured it out. There's a structure to it. I understand this is where I fit in. And the key messages here is to understand your subconscious. So you got to align your intuition within your subconscious and understand what is the perception, what is your subconscious, and what comes from childhood memories. Okay? When you link those three up, you're able to rationalize it. And you have to lean into your intuition because the Hierophant always is driven by its intuition. It's also asking you to bring routine and ritual into your life. This is how you will rebalance your life. You will see a little bit later on that there are times where you put yourself at detriment in your energy. You give too much. Rituals will rebalance your cup. You have to refill it in a way that you are wanting to refill it, whatever that looks like. And also, you have to consider your spiritual heritage. Okay? What you were raised in is something you will always hold near and dear to your heart. You might stray, but you will never fully stray because it means a lot to you. Okay? So you are a Taurus sun, a Gemini moon, and a Leo rising. You have a diurnal day chart, which means that your sun is in the 10th house. So it's above that line. You remember? We had the bottom 1-6. That's
so
night.
I'm not a night person.
You're not a night person, and I'll tell you why. Okay?
Okay.
Even though if, let's say, like you are awake till 3 a.m. or whatever.
Well, I hate to be, but I can't help it. So maybe that does make more sense than I think.
That could be like because you have a Cancer 12th house. But anyways, that's another story. Or maybe it's your Gemini moon, and Gemini is information. You probably have too much in here.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have too much in here, you're not getting enough sleep, which means that, again, you have to ritual, cleanse the day off and find a way for you to get your sleep. And so your sun sits in the 10th house, so it's above. And this signifies basically your whole chart. But the thing is that you are also a Leo rising. So that's in the 1st house. You're ruled by the sun. And this is why you have this wonderful aura of yourself, and people are very attracted to you because you just shine all the time. Okay? Even if you're not feeling well, you're still going to shine because you're going to put that away. So here, because you are ruled by the sun in your 5th house in astrology, creativity, family, love affairs, pets, adventures, it's very important for you. You love pets, you love children, but you also love adventure. You can't sit still. And this is funny because, having a diurnal chart also signifies that your sun sign, which is Taurus, holds a strong influence on you. So this means you are very grounded. Very grounded in terms of like, you love adventure, but there is grounded to it. You're not just going to do something to do it. There's going to be a purpose within yourself for it. Okay. So with that, because the sun is prominent in your 10th public image, and it's also in your Leo rising, it doesn't matter where you are, you're the star of the show. So whether you're introverted or extroverted, you just are someone that people are just going to be drawn to, or you're going to be put in situations where you have to shine.
Oh, okay.
It's just in your nature due to the way that your chart is. Also, the planets that play a big role in your journey are Jupiter, Mercury, and Saturn, okay? And especially with you just finalizing that Saturn return. So for you, because it plays a big part of your chart, it was a hard Saturn return.
It was right.
You have what we call a splay chart. And a splay chart is when we have planets basically in almost all houses, but maybe there's one house that doesn't have a planet, okay?
Okay.
And when we have splay chart, it means that we have a lot of different interest in life. So it would be difficult for you as a fixed Taurus sun that is grounded to say, I'm just going to do music. That's just impossible because you have interest everywhere. So you could do music, but you're going to do it in different ways, and you're going to do it in different places, and you're going to do different types of music. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be stuck to one thing.
Yeah.
And with that, it's pretty funny because you hold a stellium in Gemini in your 11th house. So the house of community. So you have your moon, Venus, and Mercury there, which is an indication that you love communities, but you also like to verbalize issues. So if there is an issue in a community, you will find solutions that you will be able to communicate that helps that community. Okay? Sometimes that's home, sometimes that's friends, sometimes it expands to where you are living. Okay? A split person, you're very individual in a way. I know we're talking contradictory, but it's because you refuse to be regimented by other people's belief.
Oh, that's so true. Like, I cannot be told what to do. I will put my foot down and be like, no, I'll do it my way, even if it doesn't make any sense to you.
So your parents have a lot of patience. No.
No, they don't. They were like this all the time when I was a kid, because it was like,
it's just near
they just didn't understand why I wouldn't just listen to them.
But look at you now, right? So you stay true to yourself, right? So yeah, it's like I said, it's a bit opposite from, your love of community. But what it is, this is the beauty of it. It's like, you're like, no, I'm going to do this because you know deep down inside that it's going to help.
Yeah.
Like, the outcome's going to be positive. So the journey isn't going to be so much. But at the end, you're like, okay, this is the reward. Like, this is why
I was talking about.
I told you! Classic Taurus sun. No. One thing, too, that is lovely about a splay chart is you love the underdog. You will promote the underdog because you see potential in people that they don't see in themselves. And that's a wonderful gift. During the interview, I explained to you the bottom houses 1 to 6 is basically how you're growing up and how you're building yourself to how you are externally. So internally and then externally. So I kind of explained that in there.
Okay.
Which basically shows that you're super ambitious, super independent, and you just are fixed in terms of like, I'm going to do this and that's it. Which it's funny how you say it because I also do your elements. And the elements goes back to, the cardinal, fixed, mutable. Well, my dear, you are 50% fixed. So 50% of your planets are in fixed signs, which means you're productive and determined, and you're not going to steer away from regimented perspectives or situations. Your cardinal is 25% and your mutable is 25%. Which is very interesting because as fixed as you are, you will be a little bit lenient to adapt, but only if you want to. So everything goes to like, if your friend's like, okay, we're going to stop here. And you're like, yeah, no. But sometimes
I don't have time. Or whatever. Like, whatever I think in my brain.
Exactly. If you're like, okay, we have 5 minutes. But it's going to be 5 minutes. Like, there's no steering you away from that. And then, I did the same thing with your air, water, fire, and earth. So you have the highest percentage is 28.1, which is your water. So a lot of your planets are in water. Which means that you're super, you are a very sensitive and intuitive person. So you really have to tap into that.
Air.
Well, you are. It's 21.9 after. So that's where the intellectual, the process, the communication, right? And then after that, no, I made a mistake. Sorry, your highest is Earth at 37.5%.
Whoa.
Which makes sense, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Earth is about practicality and about productivity. So if you're looking at your element where you're fixed, you have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. If it doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and the end, then that's not worth your time because you know it's going to be sporadic. So it's normal for you to think that you are more air because it's how you process that information, right? Beginning, middle, and end. So it's rationalizing, it's making sense out of it.
Yeah.
But yes, it's 37.5 earth, 12.5% fire, 28.1% water, 21.9% air. And what we do to calculate that, we look and calculate all of the planets and then clearly on 100%, and then we give you
like a breakdown.
Yeah. Yes. So now what I did is I really digged into your sun. So like I said, you're a fixed earth sign and you're you really harness the ground, but you're very fiery in terms of like, practicality and bringing ease in people's lives. So no one should rush you into anything because you already have a plan on a plan on a plan. Mm-hmm. So if someone's rushing you, that's just going to frustrate you and then you're going to blow up.
Yeah, I really do hate being rushed. Like, even in the drive-thru, if they're, like, shoving the coffee at me, I'm like, can you give me a second to put my wallet away? Like, I get frustrated over, like, little things of rushing. So you can imagine in a real situation.
Right? Yeah. No! Yeah.
I've got it under control.
Okay, so it's resonating.
It is. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's your sun sign, but it's also, Taurus is ruled by Venus. So you do take the time to smell the roses. I think that's how we say it, right? You do see beauty in everyone. You see beauty in all things. And I think in some of your darkest moments, that's what pulled you through, is that you knew that there was something beautiful on the other side. And you had to get to it because you had a plan.
Yeah. Well, even if it doesn't feel like I have one, I'm like, there's got to be more to this. Like, I can't be stuck in this forever, because no way.
That's right.
There's no way.
That's right. There's more, right? Mm-hmm. So you're very calm and pleasant until someone crosses you. So I will hand you a coffee very lightly. You really enjoy the comfort in places that are familiar to you, and that can be anywhere in the world as long as it's familiar to you, whether those are friend groups, family, home. You can make a home anywhere because you just have that beauty of just letting things enter that bring you peace. You can be possessive with people and things because they mean a lot to you. Okay, sometimes you just have to remind yourself that it's okay to not be at their beck and call because you feel that you need to. Even your loved ones, you have to let them learn on their own. Mm-hmm. You are very sensible in business, which is why this could make you a great entrepreneur if ever you wish to, and because you attract what you need and not what you want, what you need, and you hang on to that. And that's very essential because it means that, you're not going to, you'll gamble. I don't mean money-wise, but you'll gamble and take in risks, but not at the detriment of wants. Because you know what you need, and that's what you're focused on.
Oh, okay.
You're very down-to-earth, and that approach is super inviting, which is great because it makes people feel very comfortable. So, people that discuss with you, that you meet, or, whether you said you taught, right? Mm-hmm. It was probably very easy for you to have control of a classroom because you just brought this aura of sense of peace. Right? You support your loved ones, and you also remind them to stop and smell the roses. That's very important to you. And you're very practical. You lead with common sense, but the fixed in the earth makes you super stubborn. So one thing here with a Taurus sun and, the fixed energy is be careful for indulgence. Okay? In any aspects of your life.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that it can lead to negative addictions or unfulfilled moments in your life where you're craving more of something that is just not really filling you up. It's like sugar. You start eating sugar.
Oh, I can't stop.
Exactly. But it's empty. It's empty.
Yeah.
You would say empty calories.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that in life, you could be meeting someone and you're like, this person's great, but they're just taking. So make sure that, you have those boundaries put up for you so no one takes advantage of you because of that sweet... I think you already know what I mean. I'm not going to go further. So, your sun is in the 10th house, and that is a very great placement because it means that you shine in public image. The 10th house is the public image. It's reputation. Reputation is very important for you, which means that you get embarrassed very easily. So the people that you surround yourself with, you ensure that they don't destroy your public image.
I'm gonna burst myself open. Is that why I embarrass myself before I let other people embarrass me? Because I notice I'm like, I don't like the fact that I'm acting dumb or being goofy in order to make people laugh, but then I think I have this weird subconscious thing where I'm like, well, if I make them laugh at me, they're laughing with me. And then you can't laugh at me.
That's right. So you control the outcome because reputation is very important for you. And that's the sun in the 10th.
Oh my
and you will see later, it goes back to perfectionism.
Yeah.
You know, but again, this is where I speak that it's at your detriment.
Mm-hmm.
So we were speaking of shadows.
Yeah.
That is a classic example of a shadow that you need to face. Because you are enough.
Yeah.
You're allowed to make mistakes. Everyone is, right? Ah, that was good that it
And
popped
not
up.
purposeful ones that are like, oh, I'll make up this fake mistake instead of showing my real one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. See, we're already, okay, we're 5 minutes in and you're already. So that's something that you can write. And it's something that, once you go through the report, this is why I write a report.
Yeah.
Because then once you're like, okay, and then you can make notes where it's like, maybe I need to work on that, or that's something I want to change. How do I change it? And, the example is very classic because the 10th house is ruled by Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn, Saturn, structure, boundaries, it wants to be perfect. But your sun in Taurus, it's like, chill, babe. It's okay, you got this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everything's going to be okay.
It's kind of like a contradiction.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, one thing here, I'm just trying to put it all together, is like, you never shy away from putting your best foot forward. Like, you are not shy of taking leadership roles. You're not shy of taking on the lead. You're not shy of, like, doing something that might shake up a situation. But what happens is because, you are, you love your reputation, you make sure that you are aware, you have all the facts and information,
mm-hmm.
and it makes sense. Whereas if someone says, no, it's not that, you're like, oh, yes, it is. Look it. It's right here.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of where your sun placement is.
Okay.
So it is good in a way.
Yeah.
Because, sure, maybe you will do, like you say.
But it explains why people who, they want to be right too. And I have all the receipts and all of the...
Oh, yes!
So mad at me. And they're like, you're so stubborn. Like, why'd you have to argue it that hard? I'm like, because I'm right. It's rude. It's just...
Yeah. And then, others will be like, oh, you're so egotistical. You're always right. No, that's just in your nature because you make sure you do the work.
Mm.
And that's what I mean by you're always putting your best foot forward because you are confident and safe enough to say, no, this is correct.
Yeah.
So there's beauty in that. All right. So yes, you're constantly present in life, which is super beautiful. So whether it's with family and friends or, situations, you really make sure that you are present. And the thing is, the 10th house is also the house that represents the father. Okay? Because your public image will be strengthened by the love or the lack of love from the father.
Mm.
Because in public image, reputation, you need charisma, you need strength, you need confidence. It's more of a masculine place because, you're building up. It's hierarchical, right? So how your father was with you can really shine in terms of, so like, let's say your father was like, you have to do this and then that in order to get this. You are like that. So when you're saying saving receipts, I bet you any money you grew up with a father it was like, do things correctly, because if you don't, it's going to go back on you. So and that's the thing, right? Because the 10th house too, how you act in your public image is also, it's the encouragement of the father, right?
Yeah.
It's where you are building your own identity, and you will see a little bit later with your nodes that it was very important for you to stay true to your identity. Your father gave you the tools, but you also rebelled because you wanted to also be you, which could have caused some friction.
Yeah.
So, this is why building and grounding your roots will continuously help you grow in the future, and you're going to feel more secure. At 22 degrees, which is a master degree, it's really you teach through demonstration. So you have to recognize that with your sun being at 22, you've probably had a lot of hardships growing up and situations in your life because you're meant to learn from them and teach them. So, let's say...
Like, why?
That's the part that sucks, right?
Yeah.
Because 22...
Your ego goes like, I don't want to learn. I just want to reap the rewards for once.
Yeah, right? And then what occurs there is, 2 and 2, 22, 4, traditional. So the number 4 is traditional, 22 is a master, it's the teachable. And you have to learn to create stability, not only for yourself, but for others, okay? And this is really a degree, whether you are wanting to or not, that the 22 degree suns make fantastic mothers. Because they have grown and survived through so much that they have mastered it, and they are able to turn that 22 into the 4 of the traditional family and stabilize it. You know, and I bet you any money you have a lot of friends that come to you with similar issues that have occurred, and they could not know that it happened to you. And then you're like, oh yeah, this happened, and you'll nonchalantly be like, yeah, this happened and this is what I did. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
How are you like alive right now? Like,
I get asked not that specific question, but like, how are you good? Like, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you so normal and not like flying off the handle all the time? And I'm like, what do you do? How to live? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, keep going.
Everybody always goes like, oh, of course that happened to you.
But the beauty is, and I think this is what you are doing now, is you're transmuting that energy into teachable moments.
Yeah.
Right? So keep going on that right path. So just a couple things. Your sun trines. You remember the trine, so it's favorable. Your 2nd and 6th house. So you utilize every single opportunity to really make things more beautiful. What I mean by that is that you lead responsibly, especially when you feel needed. Okay? And not needed in a way of like, like, oh my goodness, there's a situation here. I have the solution. That's like a feeling where you're needed. You're needed to fix this. And that makes you feel really good. And you won't shy away from any opportunities because you know that that's something that you're good at. And you have strong, again, this is the entrepreneurial traits because you avoid being obligated to others. So this really, this is my business, for instance, this is what I value, and this is what I strive for, and no one's going to tell me other way. And I'm going to utilize opportunities to move forward. So you do have squares with your sun in your 1st, 4th, and 7th house. And this is because your home life continuously needs you. Whether that is family related or just the home life that you're building now. And you can't control that. That's not your job. If someone doesn't ask you for help, you don't need to help them. It's not your duty. Because it's at the detriment of the own person. Yeah. Right? If you see that I have an issue and right away you're like, oh, I have the solution for that. You're going to have someone that's going to be what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to be like, F off or something. Like, I don't want your help. And then you're like, well, why not? They didn't ask you. So why are you putting yourself through that pain? Right? You don't need to. And at times what happens is like you could become obsessed with an idea where it's easy for you to forget your reason as to why you're doing it. If that makes sense. So you're trying to live up to other people's expectations, but that's at your detriment. So let's say, this is classic. Let's say your parents wanted you to become a principal. And you were going for it, but then you're like, it doesn't feel right. But you're going to do it because you know that it's going to please them. Yeah. If you do not put a stop to that, you're not going to have a successful principalship career. Because it's going to come and bite you in the butt. Yeah.
Or like really be a detriment on just like you, right? Like I barely made it through being a teacher. It was really bad. I'm sure I don't know if you can read that in there, but it was awful. And it was because I never even wanted to be one in the first place.
Is that what your parents wanted you to do?
Not from like the very beginning of life, but when I started going to school. It was like, oh, well, since you went to school for music, like, what else would you do? Be a teacher. Yeah, take that path. Like, do the right thing. That's really stable. And I was like, okay, fine. Okay, yeah. And then I was good at it because I have good teacher qualities, but I was so miserable. Like, not who I am today at all. Just a shell.
Yeah. So then you understand that natal square, right? That friction of like wanting to please, but at the same time wanting to be you.
Yeah. And then having like that big moment of like, who am I living for? Like, what am I doing?
And did that happen during your Saturn return?
Yep. I was like right in the smack middle of it. The beginning was like when I moved away, I got dumped, like everything went 180 and I was like, geez, like this sucks. And then it just kept getting worse and I was like, whoa, I thought it was over when I had to move. I thought that was just like the big thing.
Yeah.
And it just kept getting worse. And now I'm on the other side and I'm like, whoa, I really had to go through so much to now realize that I'm much more on the better path.
Yeah. So you can correlate it to the 22 Master of your Sun degree.
Yeah.
Because, so it's like you're still pleasing, but now you're doing what you believe is true to your soul, your purpose.
Yeah.
So you studied music. I can't wait to see what you're going to come out with, because it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's some of the squares that you have. And I think one thing is that you need a solution that I put in there is you must learn to assert yourself continuously. Okay? Or and I call them competitors. They will win over your mind and over your physical aspect. Because whatever hurts your mind hurts your physical. And that's what I mean by you could have continued as a teacher, but at the end you wouldn't be recognizable because it's at the detriment of your mind and physical aspect.
Yeah.
So just learn to master to promote yourself because you are enough. Then we have a Sun and South Node conjunction. Okay? Remember conjunction? It's 10 degrees either together.
They're beside each
That's
other.
right, side each other. Okay? So the South Node and the North Node is basically what we call the karmic life. So your South Node, it's like a little thing like this. It means release. You're releasing it. It was your past life. It's what you did in your past, but you come back with some knowledge of it, right? Because you have to come back with something. Your North Node, it's the other way. So it kind of looks like this with two little balls.
And it's like going.
Yeah, now you're going into that.
Okay.
So because your Sun and your South Node have a conjunction, it means that, with the Sun being your purpose, your self-expression, your life force, and then the South Node representing familiarity, gratification, what you were known for, what it is that your soul, not your brain, not your subconscious, but that your soul remembers, it wants to not have that resistance. It really wants to stay in the knowing, right? So that conjunction is that you want to just kind of like learn to live with it. So you carry a great sense of confidence, which allows you to step into new realms and life experiences. And the thing is that whatever you choose in life, you will have fulfillment in this because this conjunction gives you the energy to recognize it. When you're on the right path, you have to continue on to it. So what can happen is that friction, you're like, yep, this is where I'm going. But then your competitors can be like, hey, I need you home. You got to come back. No, you just got to keep going. Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Because the key is to stay attuned to when you need to, the key is to stay attuned and know when to move on and to step into a new adventure. And that new adventure must align with your true self. So we can reuse the example of you said that you were a teacher, you had a difficulty, you had a whole bunch of different experiences. Now you're here. So how can you stay attuned to what you are doing now and how is it bringing you joy?
Yeah.
And what is still stopping you from having that full success, right? Because sometimes what happens when we have a Sun conjunct North Node, our soul can just stay stuck in the past.
Oh, okay.
And then just subconsciously, without you knowing, you're your own, this is where I say you're your own worst enemy.
Oh, okay.
Because you have to learn to bypass the South Node. And this is in your 10th house. So in your past life, you were successful. You were that public image. But that's not what you're here for. Because your North Node is in the 4th house. You're here to feel safe.
Yeah.
You're here to feel comfortable. You're here to build something that you can grow in that is not extravagant, like the 10th house of public image. Right? So maybe in your past life, you could have been a famous professor or a singer or someone that was really well known. That's not what you're here for this time.
Oh.
You're here for the opposite. You're here to say, I want to promote life in a chill, comfortable, loving way because everybody deserves that. So you don't necessarily believe in that hierarchical Hollywood, maybe even like CEO, look at me, I'm a millionaire, because that was your past life. You more so believe in the underdog. You believe in someone being happy within their means.
Whoa. I can say, because I'm like, my brain is like, yeah, we don't have like all the things, all of the like money, all of the recognition, all of the whatever, but it's...
Yeah, because your soul's attached to that, because it had that before. So it's saying you need it.
Yeah.
But that's not what you're here to learn. You have that. Wow. So that's why it's very important to understand where you're.
And that's why there's like such a huge like yearning for it, because you kind of like, I'm guessing my soul maybe misses it or something.
Yeah. You know what? Instead of going, I'm going to go to your nodes right now.
Okay.
Because we're in it. So your nodes, which are the karmic, the future lessons that you need to learn. They're the points where you need to release. So they're at 23 degrees. So the 23rd degree is the degree of sorrow. Okay? So the 23 degree is where you must understand that everything is temporary. Joy, loss, anger, love. Because on the other side of it is change. And when you experience the change, you transmute it into building your own self, into walking in the journey that is purposely created for you. And here is that the intent is for you to live without regret. You're going to hurt people, you're going to love people, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to have some wins and losses. Don't sit on regret. I coulda, shoulda, woulda. That's to your detriment. Oh, but what if I continued one more year teaching? Maybe I would have loved it. No, you wouldn't have. But what if I would have trade in my car? No, that's not what you were meant to do. Don't regret the decisions. You already know. You're a fixed sign. You know.
Yeah.
Since a child, you can make the good decisions. Don't go backwards because you don't want to have regret. That's right, because of the what ifs. So here, the most beautiful part of it is because your south node is in the 10th and your north node is in the 4th. So the duality. So Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. So there's always rebirth. There's always death, transformation, rebirth in your lineage, in your home life, and in the home that you will create. Because you're kind of breaking ties up. So what you were raised in won't be what you're going to create as your own family. Whatever that may be.
That resonates. Because I already, and it's no offense to the way I was raised at all, but I just literally can look back and go, that's not the way it's going to be. I know it, because times have changed for one, but also because I can identify issues and fix them, right? So I just know what I do want to do as a mother one day, and what kind of relationship I want to have with my husband one day, and because I've seen what I don't want.
It's just beautiful what you just said, because I'm going to read it word for word.
Okay.
You have a talent for diagnosing a problem and solving it. In this case, it is within your family and career. Don't tell me astrology is not real.
It's really crazy. It's exactly what Whoa.
This is why I write reports, So, exactly. So you are on the right path. So, with your South Node in Taurus, without going too much into detail, I kind of put points for you.
Yeah.
So you're learning to make the hard choices. You are learning to walk away from people, things, and situations that no longer work for you. And you're trading cards because you want to create a life that you believe in, because you know that you deserve it. Right? It's like one extreme to the other. Those are the nodes. And with your North Node in Scorpio, you're learning to live and build a home that is founded on love. Not because you didn't have love, because you didn't have that in past lives. And your parents gave you somewhat of a loving home, but you were rarely aware of what you did not want at a young age. And, I'm wondering too, like when you were younger and, we always play house or we plan or like what it's going to look like for you, you are really wanting and needing a partner that not only is open communication, but that is about trust and that doesn't have any secrecy. You want to make sure that you create a family with someone that is just as authentic as you are, allows you your freedom, but also has the same type of values.
Yeah.
And that's all built within that intellectual capacity of being able to communicate emotions,
exactly,
feelings, and to not scream at you if they're frustrated. That
won't
work with you.
Screaming.
That won't work with you.
Yeah.
You need someone to say, hey, I don't like how you treated me because it made me feel like this, and I really would prefer if we did this next time. Are you okay with me proposing solutions? And you're going to be like, I'm in love.
Yeah.
And, you're going to be like, I love you. Marry me today, because like that's love language to you.
Yeah.
And it was something that you
It's
were
like
lacking as a child.
Feeling understood.
And that creates some of your shadows as well, because you always feel at times, you could always feel at times that your ideas, your solutions, or even things that you know how to fix certain things, but because you didn't feel like you were heard or listened to or understood,
Yeah.
you think that they won't matter or it's the wrong thing. So now with your North Node, you really need to go into craving deeper connections. I do believe that there were situations in your life. I'm going to say, because they are at 23, so I'm going to say between the ages of 16 to 25, you've probably met and crossed individuals that not only destroyed you, but that have beat you down so much that you didn't believe that love was capable of happening anymore. You didn't believe that friendships were capable, didn't believe that you were capable of having friendships, and you probably had many years where you had no trust in anyone. So you have to release that, and you have to dig back into understanding that the world is full of love, and that the energy vampires, or that the people that come to you, they have to, because they build you into being who you are meant to be.
Yeah.
Because if you look back at that time and you look at yourself now, you're like, oh my gosh, thank you.
I see it as like, now, I see it as a slingshot. So then when I have somebody else in my life who's going through something awful, I'm like, oh, just you wait, man. You're about to fly forward in life. Like, you're about to have the best, like, comeback story. And that's because you're spot on. Like, I've been destroyed.
Yeah.
And then, what do? You have to build yourself back up. But then you go to therapy and you find out, like, that there was never anything wrong with you the whole time. And then you figure out, like, oh, I am good enough. Yeah.
And, unfortunately, it's narcissistic individuals.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And here,
it's wild that you can pick that up in this. Like, it's wild to me.
Well, and that's the thing too, because you have to understand that, what I put here too is that don't settle for the status quo. You want to because it's comfortable, but you're meant to have way more, because you have a desire to truly transform community, and you're able to do that by learning through your lineage.
Yeah.
And you're learning to come out of your safe zone to create a life that you believe that you should and want for yourself, like should have and want for yourself, right? And I just feel called to do this because I think we're kind of hitting the same thing where you're Chiron.
Yeah.
So Chiron is a little circle with a K.
Okay.
Chiron came out with astrology about in the 60s, I believe. And the story with Chiron is the wounded healer. And he basically went to Zeus and he was like, hey, I want to survive. I want to live forever. Therefore, Zeus was like, if you want to, then you have to live with your wound. Because he was the one that got an arrow through the, Achilles.
Oh.
Right? And I'll turn you into a god. I'm missing elements. I'm just going through memory here. I'll make you a god, but to be a god, you will suffer every day with your wound, your wounded healing. And his wounded who was the lack of love from his mother. So he never felt fully loved. I'm sorry, I can stop.
No, you don't have to stop. You don't have to stop. You don't have to stop.
Therefore, your wounded healer is at the second house in Virgo.
Yeah.
Where you have an immense, you have such great wisdom because of the experience and lack of love that you grew up in, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is that you are able to transmute that into joy onto others, but it is at the detriment of yourself.
Yeah.
So your Chiron is where you cultivate wisdom, but your wound, the lack of love, is also at 2 degrees, okay? And it's in Virgo. So you have Virgo, which is continuously analyzing. Virgos, okay, Virgo placements, Virgo individuals, they love spreadsheets. You give these people spreadsheets and you tell them a story and they will have it all out for you.
Yeah.
And they're like bang, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
That's their receipts. Because that's there, what happens is that you always feel like there's something wrong with you. The solution here is that you don't need to know. If someone in your family, as you were growing up, did not agree or was very like, you should do it that way or you should do it that way. Don't sing like that. Sing like this. Don't wash your clothes like that. Wash it like this, you know? Okay? That's not your problem. That's theirs. Because here's the thing. We live in a world of perception.
Uh-huh.
I am sitting here in front of you. I have no idea what's in your mind. You could say, oh my God, this is the worst reading ever. Or you could say, this is the best reading. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I choose to believe that I'm right and that I'm giving you the information that you need. Yeah. And by choosing that, I'm living in it. I don't have any control how you're going to react. And that's not my problem. That's not for me to do.
Yeah.
You need to understand that that's what you need to do. You will always have that.
I have to be like, who cares? I'm gonna do it my way anyway, kind of thing.
Yes, okay. Yeah, we can say it that way, and don't
not to
like being disrespectful or you know what I mean. But just know that those individuals that made you feel like you weren't enough, that had nothing to do with you. It's because they were lacking something. We're always wanting to grab something from something else that we don't have. Do you ever notice? Oh, this person's like this. Yeah, because you're not, and you want that. It's envy.
Yeah.
If you're not envious and you're just supportive, you're not going to feel like that.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, go girl, get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm like so blown away because then you think like, oh, maybe the ex that told you something wrong, like something was wrong with you, is correlated to the fact that when you were a kid something was wrong with you, and like it's just like a pattern that you haven't healed yet. Mm-hmm.
But it will always be with you.
Yeah.
And
I know it like sticks in the back of your head, and you always think like, yeah. When's this other shoe gonna drop? And this person's also gonna think that I'm whatever, like to this or not enough of that. Or.
But there's hope because we have our Chiron return at about age 48, 52, depending on the degree. And while you have that Chiron return, that's when you heal, if you've done the work. So now you're reckoning that you're doing the work. You are.
Like,
so
like
by the time you're 50, you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's not my problem, that's yours. It's not going to be it's going to be there, but you're going to be in control of your wound.
Yeah. Oh,
and there's still a lot of study on Chiron because it's still such a new planet. So to study the effects of a planet and what it does to an individual in their chart, you have to look at trends. You have to look at, backdate and really study. Mm-hmm. So, so when you're connecting it, it's connecting to that. So one thing too here that I want to talk to you about is that your Chiron squares your Mercury. So a square is that 90 degree. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's like, but a challenge for you to grow into. Mm-hmm. So your wound is squaring Mercury, your plan of communication. So this has an impact on communication, meaning that as a child, you buried everything in protection of others.
Yep.
This is what we call a black sheep. Okay? And what I mean by that is that you buried your pain at the detriment of your own self in order to please other people, because you wanted to make sure that they didn't analyze you or say anything else that was bad that maybe they thought was bad, but you're like, why is this bad? Whatever, I'll just bury it and go on, because you wanted to feel accepted.
Yeah.
And because of the square and the friction, then you had difficulties understanding your own emotions. Okay? And with a Gemini moons, it's air, it's communication, it's intellectual. Mm-hmm. So they feel, but they have to make sense of it. This experience you had as a young child, where you had a hard time communicating your emotions, really is in favor, because now, as an adult, you are able to communicate and understand emotions, and you emphasize that, especially in your relationships.
Yeah.
If you have a friend that says, I'm mad at you, and they're like, well, why? Why are you mad at me? And they can't explain it to you, that frustrates you probably to a point where it's like, that's just impossible, because you know.
And like, you're just too afraid to tell me what's going on. Like, that's what my brain says. Like, I'm like, you know why you're upset. Why wouldn't you know? What are you like, I did something, so tell me so we can fix it. Yeah, that makes sense.
100%. Because those are, again, it goes back to 22.
Yeah.
You experienced it to teach it.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately with your nodes, you had to go through all those sorrows in order to live the life that you came here to live.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a pattern,
Yeah. I'm noticing it's like getting gentler as I keep growing.
Yes.
I mean, knock on wood. But yeah.
And from there, I'm just going to go into your Pluto.
Okay.
Your Pluto is in Scorpio, clearly, which is your 4th house, and it's at 26 degrees because, Pluto was in Scorpio from 1983 to 1995. So all the millennials that were born from 83 to 95, they all have Pluto in their Scorpio.
Yeah.
Sometimes it retrograded back, so it depends, because there's an 84 where Pluto
they might have a
retrograde in Libra.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, but technically, yeah. So Pluto in Scorpio governs, sex, death, transformation, it's determination, it's the occult, it's the dark underworld. And because it's in your 4th house, that's why it's very interesting that you say, you come from a very Catholic family. Because usually when we have a Scorpio 4th house, you either have a witch as a mother, or you have a Catholic believer as a mother. There's no in between. Because they were very strict on so let's say it's Catholicism. If you would have ever brought tarot, or if you would have ever brought astrology or anything like that, that would have been the end of it. in theory, when we say that, it could resonate, it could not. But in theory, because Pluto, Scorpio kids, they brought that back. They were rebels.
Yeah.
They were like, well, you're not going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to show you that there's more than what it is that you believe in. Mm-hmm. Because you have to end something in order to grow into something more. We have to evolve.
Yeah.
So 83 kids to 95 kids, they shook up the whole generation. Look, we are the healers today.
Yeah, that's so true.
Because of that, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that
everybody's
point.
always like, I don't get millennials. I'm like, okay.
That's right, exactly. Because we're fearless, we're determined. I'm gonna add myself in there because I'm an 84.
Yeah.
And it's just that demand of authority where we're like, no, why do you have to demand so many things? Why can't we just be?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because we were raised by individuals. Well, myself, maybe not you. I think I have 10 years on you. Where, my parents in the 70s. Where's the love and light, guys? Where's the peace and love? What happened to you?
No, my parents are also from that.
Okay.
From that generation. Yeah, they just had me late.
And it was I don't know if they were ashamed or what happened. But
I know. Because I'm like, you had so much freedom. So is it you're going against the way you grew up because you're afraid, oh, I know how rebellious I was and how free I was. I don't want my kid to get into trouble.
Yes.
So I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then they went super hard.
That's right.
But then, it just kind of did the opposite. We all turned into rebels.
Exactly. So you're seeing the,
I'll just be better at hiding it then.
Yeah. Always be better at hiding it. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll just lie to you.
Yeah, I'll just lie. I won't tell you the truth. So so here that's where, we kind of have possessive tendencies because what happens is we believe in it so much that sometimes it can be at a detriment where we burn out completely on an idea. So Pluto in the 4th, it points tension in your early life. Some things you could remember, some things you could not remember. And what I mean by that is that usually when we have Pluto in the 4th house, sometimes there's a shakeup in the family. Something happened in the family that transmuted the family into a completely different situation. It could be a death, it could be a move, it could be a divorce, it could be a secret, it could be, anything in that matter of like, it's going to shake up the core of your foundation. But the thing is, like, the circumstances in return of these situations help you master your fate. It helps you refine your voice. It helps you find that, yes, thank you, but that's not how I'm going to live. Because I know that this is not the right thing for me, right? And it's, again, the 4th house is associated with the sign Cancer that rules the 4th house, and the moon that rules the 4th house. And this is why we say that the mother, you can see the mother's personality, way of bringing up their children in the 4th house because of, moon, mother, it all comes together, right?
Yeah.
So that's why the 4th represents your roots, your lineage, but also what it is that you need to detach from. And you have to detach from the idea of being your mother, because if you don't, then you will never grow into yourself. And the thing is, the umbilical cord, I always say this, we are born with an umbilical cord, and usually the father cuts it. That's why your father is the 10th and your mother is the 4th, because your father gives you your freedom. These are just, sometimes it's a doctor, but,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the mother wants, it's the possessiveness, like, you're my child. But you must learn through your other houses to be you. And you will have your mother's love in the end.
Yeah.
Because it always comes back full circle. Right?
Yeah.
So at 26 degrees, this is what's beautiful, and I wanted to share with you, is that it's about, 26 degrees is about joining service into your own transformation. Okay, it goes back to the 22, 23 degrees, because you have a sense of wanting to scapegoat others because you want to avoid your own personal responsibilities. And that's because sometimes you don't want to go back to them because you're afraid that you're not strong enough to outbeat them. But you are, because those are the lessons that you're kind of bringing back to teach others. And it's not what to do, it's you're making others aware.
Yeah.
But you're like, can I do this? Because I don't know if I'm going to be aware enough myself to not fall back into lacking confidence, losing my voice, or going back to just burying everything because I just want to people please.
Yeah.
And here, it's only when you fully rebirth that you're going to be living in your true self, and that you're going to be able to start your own family. You will never be able to start your own family until you are fully reborn, which could possibly lead into you being an older mother, where you could potentially have children between the ages of 35 to 42. You will see that a lot with the Scorpio 4th house, because they are deep. They love deep. They are possessive. And they're like, I need to feel okay before I embark into my own motherhood.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And
but then I have a fear of being an older mother, which is funny. Like, that's...
opposition.
I know.
But this just states that it's going to be okay. Yeah, so, and that's the thing too, with Pluto in the 4th, because it's your foundation, it's your grounding, your whole life will be, rebirth, transformation, death, rebirth, transformation, death, rebirth, transformation. I don't mean by people, I just mean by situations.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. It's like just going to be a constant change.
Yeah, but it's going to be at a point one time, and this will probably be around your Chiron return, where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is boop, boop, boop. You're going to experience all three in like 1 minute, because you're going to be so accustomed to it.
Oh,
so
nice.
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
One thing that I also do is, I do talk a little bit about your health. I'm not a health practitioner, but astrology can have some cosmic health benefits.
Okay.
And just to see your reaction.
Okay.
So as a Taurus sun, It's important for you to be the Aphrodite of your own life. And what I mean by that is that nurturing yourself and nurturing others comes easily to you because it's how you balance. You also quickly understand the needs of others. You also exude stability. And what I mean by that is that others could take advantage of you that could cause you stress. And you have to ensure that you give away your energy carefully and with intent. Because if you don't, you're going to bury that stress. It's going to show up in your chest. You could have hives. You could have a throat infection. You could lose your voice. That's due to people taking advantage of you.
Would that also be like an acid reflux problem?
Right there, because Taurus rules the throat. If you do not speak your truth and take care of it, you will have fire or you will have thyroid issues.
Who the heck is taking advantage of me? I'm like better now than I was last year, but I was extreme. Like, couldn't eat anything without feeling an upset, like esophagus.
Yep.
So that's wild.
Yeah. The best thing to do too, and I say all this to my Taurus sun, is when you feel like that, write down, what did you do that day? Who were you around? Do it every time it happens, and then.
Yeah.
It's that Virgo moon in me. You'll have a spreadsheet.
But that's good.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell, right? Also, so you are a Gemini moon. And this is, the teacher in you. That's the networker. That's the writer even, if you like to write. Because you are wired to communicate. And because it's a Gemini moon, you are wired to communicate feelings, emotions, to beautify situations, right?
Yeah.
You are a natural teacher, which means that self-expression is healthy for you. If you're boxed in, you're going to feel it here, okay? Because Gemini rules the nervous system. So don't restrict your authenticity. Social nature can contribute to burnout. If you do too much socializing, you're going to be secluded.
Yeah.
And you being secluded is not good because you need that freedom because of the Leo rising.
Is that what, like, how do I relate this? Like, feeling you're in a room full of people and you're just like, sitting there kind of like, okay, I'm still not talking to anybody and I just feel like, why am I here kind of vibe. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. That means you're done. You have nothing
like,
to give.
Yeah.
Nothing to give.
Stop so you can go socialize more tomorrow.
That's right.
Okay.
Tomorrow's a new day. And what happens here too, your red flags to notice is mood swings, anxiety, and acute depression. That's why you really have to be careful in your social circles.
Yeah,
you really need that time to be like, okay, I'm done. So it's essential for you to disconnect completely from social media, from life, from everything. Don't ever feel that you are degrading yourself or that you are not worthy of laying in your bed all day. Because if you don't, then you'll be stuck in your bed for 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? Journaling is very important for you, and I'll tell you why. Because you're a Gemini moon, you have epiphanies probably twice a week.
No, like every moment.
Okay, there you go. But the thing is that if you don't write them down, you'll forget them because so much. It's like a constant film. So if you're writing down your epiphanies, your emotions, you're not holding on to it, so you're releasing that energy, which gives more room for you to have more ideas, more epiphanies, right? And this could be post-it scribbles, whatever.
Yeah.
Just get it out of your system. It's at your benefit. Also, Gemini corresponds to the arms, the hands, and shoulders. So if you ever feel some numbing there, okay, it's because you don't have proper form, okay? Make sure you go to a chiro and get your neck checked because you could easily have a bump because your posture can easily be, and that's just natural because of the Gemini and what it holds within yourself. And this is why it's very important for you to embark in a what do we call that, breathing therapy or a breath work. Breath work and yoga.
Times, and it's
so
hard, but I do it. It's really hard though. Like I feel a lot of resistance when I do it.
Okay, so the less it means you do right.
More.
And because Taurus rules the throat, right, the breathing will also expand, but it will get rid of that negative energy that you're taking in. Okay, so remember we were talking about rituals and how it's kind of important for you to balance your life. That's a very good night ritual, is cleansing the throat, the chest, the hands. Okay, and another thing too that I put for there is that yoga is super essential for you because it's the stillness of your mind. Gemini moons are kept go, 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 go. If you do not still the mind, you can't be productive. So yoga is a big thing for you, and because of the posture and the hands and the muscle, strength training is also at your benefit. Okay, so you can add that in there.
Yeah.
And with the Leo rising, this is the sovereign, the motivator, the leader. Unfortunately, Leos have these karmic lessons that they must learn. It's just the nature of Leo risings because it's ruled by the sun and just the whole aspect of the orbit. And what happens is that you have to rely on your opposite sign. Okay, so relying on your Aquarius sign means that you are really digging into, so a Leo rising can become very selfish in their own aspects. I don't mean selfish like I don't care about other people, well that too, but that is for you to know for yourself. You have selfish tendencies that can be at the detriment of your health, right? You're not selfish in the right things. I'll give you an example. Someone says, hey, let's go out to the bar tonight. And you're like, I don't want to. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I don't want to. But you go. It's going to end up being a bad night for you. You're either going to blow up on someone, or you're going to be like, I'm sorry, but I'm gone. Or you're going to get into a fight with someone, and then you're like, shit, my friend's not talking to me for 3 days. Why did I blow up on her? Because you weren't selfish. You were selfish in a way of maybe something else, but you're not selfish in proper ways. Does that make sense?
Like, I wasn't selfish in doing what I knew was right for me. I was selfish in, like, the people-pleasing way. Exactly. Like, in, like, this will bring me, like, the attention, like, the praise that I want from people.
Yes.
And that literally is, like, a boundary that I've been struggling with the whole entire, oh my gosh, since I could start going and having fun.
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes you just don't want to, but you have such a huge guilt or a fear of missing out on the fun of it, right?
Yeah, because of the Leo rising, right? The sun, the ego, the look at me, and it's not in a negative way.
Yeah.
And this, so now you'll really understand. What's Aquarius? Do you remember?
Humanity.
It's community. So if you're like, if someone says, hey, do you want to go out to the bar tonight? Something that you could have done is, okay, am I doing this for my own, I want to be flattered, I want to feel like I'm important, or do I really want to be out in community right now? Can I give to my community if I go out? If the answer is yes, then perfect.
Yeah.
If the answer is no, it's just
about it,
yeah.
then I'll go.
But if it's just to, flatter yourself, it's never going to be good for you. Because as a Leo rising, right away in the house of self, you want to do everything for yourself. It's not that you think that way, it's just subconsciously you are a Leo rising.
Yeah.
So you shine when people are flattering you or when you're the center of attention. Not in a negative way, but it's because you just naturally need that. But if you're doing it for the opposing sign, the Aquarius sign, then it will always be good for you. Because it will clear that ego aspect, that look at me.
That makes so much sense.
So those are
things like, I think I was talking to you earlier about like how if I really try to curate an image of myself, it doesn't like really do that well. But if I just put myself out there because I feel like it's what I need to say or do, it goes really well online or like even just talking with people. If I don't choose my words wisely and I just speak, people like receive it better. I was having like quite the
yeah. So what I'm going to talk to you right now about is the transits that are happening. So we have our natal chart. We covered some of that, what you were born with. This is what the sky looked like.
Yeah.
But we're in constant movement, which means that our chart is always looking differently. Right? And this is what we call transit charts. This is what we call transits, where planets are moving and they're affecting different themes in our houses. So for instance, you are Leo rising. Right now we have the sun, Leo sun at 3 degrees. We have Mercury conjunct the moon, so 13, 16 degrees. So today, well, since last week when Mercury went retrograde, you are having situations where you're retrospecting within the self. Am I enough? Is my physique good enough? Do I have the right style? Am I acting the right way? And then you have the whole collective aspect of it, like, you are put in situations where they're the burnt toast theory that we were talking about, right? And that is for you to really like step back and be like, okay, why am I thinking like this?
Yeah.
But it's even worse for you because Mercury is also retrograding in your first house. So the way that you haven't been speaking to yourself very well right now, you're very negative within yourself. That's okay. Okay, it's not good, but it's okay because that retrograde right now is making you think. And then all of a sudden you're going to be like, because that new moon happened in Leo yesterday and it's conjuncting Mercury, by the weekend, probably starting today, probably on your way here, you're probably like, oh, okay, I'm talking to myself like this because I'm just being super negative because I don't like this part of me. Well, how can I change it? Maybe instead of wearing white, I'm going to start wearing red. Maybe instead of just doing my eyes, I'm going to do a full face because I feel like it. Or maybe I'm going to step into the style that I want because I want to show people who I am.
Yeah.
Right? So you are having that negative talk. Now we're going to be ending Mercury retrograde. You're going to have answers to your self-negative talk, right? And that new moon in Leo is initiating something new within the self. So don't be surprised if you're like, I'm going to change my hair. I'm going to get a haircut. Or maybe you're going to go and be like, I'm going to buy that dress.
Yeah.
There's going to be things that you're going to change. Okay?
Yeah.
And when we're talking about new moon, full moon, there's a full cycle. There's a new moon in Leo. In 6 months, there will be a full moon in Leo. So that's your storyline.
And is that the ending of that cycle?
That's right. That's
okay.
right. Your intention put in a new moon.
Yeah.
You will always see it 6 months later when there's a full moon. Okay? Then we have, so your Saturn in your 8th house at 11 degrees. So you probably started feeling your Saturn return, I will say probably 29. So mid 29, we'll say. And because it's at 11 degrees, right, which is a master number, you felt your Saturn return for 2 years in Pisces in the 8th. So in the 8th would mean that your Saturn return represented financial loss. It probably showed who was abusing of your energy, who was abusing of your money, who was abusing of your psyche. It also showed who you can partner with and who you cannot partner with. Maybe you had certain business ideas and they didn't work out because they were a scam, or, I don't want to say it like that, but, and also in the 8th, more on the personal side, you probably evolved in the way that you saw yourself in your feminine energy. You became more secure.
Yeah.
When it comes to that 3-lettered word. You're not as you're not lacking confidence because you learned what you needed to learn, right?
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So that went into Aries. So when it went into Aries this year, you probably felt a huge release of energy where it was like, okay, things are coming back together, right? But Saturn is retrograding back into Pisces. Right now, so it's in your 9th house. So maybe in the last few months what happened was that, oh girl, I'm sorry, you also had Neptune in there because Neptune and Saturn have been falling. So you had a lot of people where you were like, yeah, you're not who you are. You're fake. You screwed me. And I don't like you anymore because you told me to believe in you. Okay? But you probably idolize these people too. Ooh. It's going to get better. So,
good.
They're going to retrograde back. And this is what I want you to really zero and focus in on. Think about some of the harshest lesson that Papa Saturn taught you. Did you do the work? Did you really implement the lesson? Or are you lacking certain steps? Because when Saturn is retrograding back, especially to your natal side, it's not going to retrograde all the way back to 11 degrees, but just enough for you to be like, okay, I'm going to test you now. You know when they say the okay, I think you're
happening great now.
right? You know when they say the universe will show you things until you learn? That's what's happening. And it's going to culminate from September to November. And then all of a sudden Saturn's going to be like, okay, I'm moving forward again. So you can always get ready for this.
And you can feel it before it starts to happen, right? Like starts to be like that twinging, eating away at you. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do anything about it, it's going to like suck.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll be like, why is this happening again? Because you didn't learn it. And now Saturn's in your 9th, so you have to really be mindful the next 2.5 years. It's not a Saturn return for you, but in your 9th house, you're going to have to be very wary of, be mindful. If you're going to take classes because you're like, oh, I have a new interest in this, make sure that it's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay? And you might be like, I'm going to travel, but you're going to have a lot of issues while traveling. You're going to have limitations. So maybe you're going to want to go to Greece, but all of a sudden, the flights for Greece are like $3,000. That's okay. Put it on the back burner. Wait until the tickets are $15,000.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're going to just have challenges to travel.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it's teaching you, do you really need that? Or are you limiting yourself because you don't think like you deserve that? Like many people, when they have Saturn going through their 9th, they'll go back to school.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why did I do that? Because they didn't ask the key questions. Is it a need or a want? Or am I just trying to like flatter my ego because I don't think that I'm enough? Okay?
Yeah.
This is kind of cool too. We're going to link it up.
Okay.
So you had your Saturn return in the 8th, which is how people give you money or how, taxes, whatever, shared partnerships, etc. And at the same time, you had Uranus in the 10th house, which is your public image, which means that through the 8 years up to leading as the culminating point of your Saturn return, you found out who was destroying you. And you also found out what was destroying your reputation and your public image. Therefore, Uranus shook up your reputation in terms of like, yeah, you thought you were this, you're this. This is truly who you are, right? Uranus is going to go back into the 10th. So again, and I believe it's going to be later November. It's in your report, the dates. Just make sure, look back the last 8 years. What happened in my 10th house? Did I change careers? Did I want to do something with my reputation that was maybe not favorable for me? Or maybe I limited myself into really showing who I am. Oh, and then you might think like once Uranus goes back, you might be like, no, this is not for me. I'm going to go back to teaching. No.
I don't think I ever will let myself. Because I do have those like moments of that. And then I very much shut it down because I'm like, don't ever do that to yourself again.
Yes. So, you learned it. So when Uranus retrogrades back into the 10th, it could be that it's going to do nothing for you because you're like, no, learned it once, not going to do it again.
Yeah.
But not everyone's like that.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's in your 11th house. So it's still at 0 degrees. So remember I was talking about the 0 degree? It's still a really good time to put intention. Mm. What do you want Uranus to bring in your 11th house? So the 11th house is really about your long-term goals. It's everything that you learned. How do you want to apply it towards your community now? What effect do you want to have on your community? How do you want to innovate? How do you want to do a shake-up? Because Uranus is that innovator. Mm-hmm. It's the future. Yeah. It's, it is also ruled by Aquarius where you have that water bearer. What do you want to nourish? And now it's all about trials and error, right? Because it's at 0 degrees.
Yeah.
And you are able to really play with that energy. Because if you put an intention for the next 8 years, then that's what the energy is going to focus on. Because did you mention you did some manifestation work?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I love about this. I don't know much about manifestation, so I'll connect with whoever does the manifestation because I would love to learn more. Because I know that, I always say words are spell.
Yeah.
So through your manifestation in the 11th house and your long-term goals, your friendships, your communities, what is it that you want to bring? What do you want to manifest? This is a very good time.
Okay.
Because it's like an experiment right now. So you're getting a taste of what Uranus in your 11th house is. This means that maybe you were like, in 5 years, I'm going to have this. And now you're like, oh God, no, I'm going to need more than 5 years. Right? Or you could be like, that's not my friend group anymore. Why am I feeling like this? Because they serve their purpose. Or you could be like, man, I love my friends. I need to do more because I think that I lacked something, that they deserve more of my energy. So it could go either way, right?
Yeah.
So just kind of pay attention to those focal points and apply it to your life. So those are some of the transits that are occurring. And you know, I mean, like right now we have Venus in Gemini, and it's almost opposing your natal Venus, so that's fun, which means that you do have a beautiful stellium, by the way, in the 11th house. You have your moon, your Venus, and your Mercury, which means
it's like very communication focused.
Yeah, but also like you bring so much love and hope.
That's good.
You do. You are. That's like really written in the stars. And you also have, is that regular? Aldebaran in there too. You know, we have those fixed focal points, focal asteroids. Well, I did do, if I may, because we talked about asteroids, I did do one for you to present today.
Okay.
And I did Juno. Juno is the asteroid of love. Everybody wants to know, when am I going to fall in love? When am I going to get married? You can figure it out in a chart. But honestly, I always like to say, well, here's the type of lover that you wish to attract. And your Juno is in the 3rd house in Libra. So you are looking for someone that is just, that is balanced, but you're also looking for someone who is communicative.
Yeah.
Okay. And this soulmate connection, I kind of talked about it, where it was like, you know, they're true, they're open, and they're authentic with you. And here, there's no non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable. If you date an introvert, that's just not possible for you.
No, it's not. I learned that lesson the really hard way, and I'm like, okay, I just can't. No offense, like I just label it this way because I was told you're not boring enough, and then I'm like, you're like, now that I'm healed from it, I'm like, you're too boring. It's not me.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's right. Because if you're with an introvert, or you're with someone who is unable to understand their emotion or communicate their emotion, then that's where you're going to see that narcissistic behavior, because they're going to gaslight you into thinking that that's not who you are, because they see your value, so they don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
Right? And because you're very intellectual, you understand words and emotions, they will try to manipulate you into thinking that what you're thinking is wrong. And that's why you value open and honest communication.
Yeah.
And you will fall in love with someone who gives you just that. You will fall in love with the guy that says, yeah, I don't know, I eat naked in bed sometimes. You know, that will tell you the weird, quirky things when you're like, what the fuck? But then you're like, man, I appreciate this because you're being vulnerable and you're telling the truth. But you also need someone that's going to stimulate you intellectually. You want someone that understands life, and you want someone that is able to have those philosophical conversations. And it's connected to your 7th house of relationships, and your 7th house is in Aquarius, which supports the need for intellectual conversation and also that innovative and unique person. Your Mars will always tell you the type of person that you want. I just need to go see where your Mars is.
I think it's an Aries, if I can remember.
Yes, it is an Aries. So you love a well put together man that is very career focused, but is also driven to get to the top of no matter where it is that they're going to get to. You love someone that is that can make decision, that is witty, that is quick, and you also need someone that will correspond to your needs and understand that if you need it, you will ask for it. You don't want to be babied. You don't want to be coddled. You want to be free, but you want someone that can also have that intuitive instinct to be like, okay, I know she might not be happy that I got her these flowers, but she does deserve those flowers. And the flowers that they're going to give you are not typical roses. They're going to be something that is just like innovative and unique. Like he could build you a Lego flower and you'd be like, oh my god, this is so cool because I get to have it forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're like quirky and so that's what, you know, when people are like, what's my love life like? Well, here's what you want. Here's what's in the natal chart.
Yeah.
Do as you please.
Interesting. You're like describing my boyfriend.
Okay, yes!
Good. I'm glad. I think I already went through my opposite, like, who are you not supposed to be with on my own, and it was awful.
Those are fun, eh? And it's
They're
like,
not fun.
do that.
Yeah. But you think it's right when you're in it, obviously, or else you wouldn't have gone for them. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then the one that's supposed to be there, you're like, what? How did you end up in my life?
Yeah.
But it works.
It does.
So,
You know? And that's one thing that I love hearing stories like that, because there are too many stories where it's like, I know I'm with the wrong person, but I'm just gonna stay.
I know a lot of people like that.
And then it's like, don't get mad at me! Don't get mad at me!
I won't say it. I'm just gonna go.
So then I would end where, do you have any questions, or is there things that you want to dig deeper? And sometimes people will say, I would really like to dig deeper into this.
Yeah.
And that comes with, the cost, where it's not extra. I would just say, give me a day or two. I would dig deeper into what it is that they want.
Okay.
And then we go from there.
Yeah. Wow. It's so thorough. It's like so thorough. And I know you barely, like, in comparison to what you wrote, I know that this was only scratching the surface.
Yes.
Which means it's so incredibly thorough and more than I think anybody could ever expect or imagine. So
Okay, good.
it's well worth it, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like, this is amazing. I
Yeah.
want to tell everybody I know to be like, hey, you should get
I
you should get this done.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. It's
You were
just...
scary spot on with a lot of things where I was like, whoa, maybe I'll tell my parents not to watch this one.
Sorry, Mom and Dad. I know.
Yeah. No, but it's all good.
Okay, good. Good. No,
Yeah,
you did have loving
good.
home. I will say that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had a loving home, but it's just,
Yeah.
that's just our roots. That's where we learn,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow, that was amazing.
Good, girl.
Thank
Well,
you so much.
I'll send you this, and yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Thank you.
lovely.
That was so fun.
Anytime.
It was hard, but it was fun. Mind blown. I cannot believe how much was revealed to me, and everything was creepily spot on. I'm pretty mind blown. I'm like pretty speechless right now, but I'm really appreciative of the time that was put into this chart. And if you want to have your own reading done by Audrey, please reach out to her. She is so thorough. This chart thing is like 30 pages long, and it explains everything. Like, we truly only scratched the surface today, and I know that when I read it later, I'm going to be ripped open and it's going to be the best. But I love getting into that stuff, so if you do too, please give her a follow. Send her a message if you're interested in working with her. I'm sure she would be more than happy to get into it with you as well. And you can check out her monthly subscription if you want to just know about your transits, as she's mentioned in the interview. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.